When you open up Scratch, the first thing you'll probably see is the featured projects. A list of projects popular enough that the Scratch team decided to show it to everyone on the platform. However, I never look at the featured page. Why? It's because I find most of the projects on the featured list boring. Keyword, I find it boring, but I'll get to that later. If you've been on Scratch for long enough, you'll probably have heard of these amazing games on Scratch. Genji's 3D Crystal Seeker game, Griff Patch's Getting Over It recreation, Awesome XD's Plants vs. Zombies recreation. Well, most of them are recreations, but you might have noticed something. There aren't any projects like this on the Featured tab. This video aims to explain why this is, and my opinions on the subject. So, if there aren't any complex games on the Featured tab, what is there? Well, it's full of these art projects that with barely any programming. Of course, not every project is like that. Some of them are games, but they're never complex games and they're usually pretty short. And I'm kinda disappointed by this. Like, I don't care about simulated pottery. I wanna play these fun and unique games that had a lot of effort behind them. Although, I'm not saying that the games on the featured project didn't have effort put into them. So, I went to the Scratch forums to ask about this, and I've researched multiple people's opinions on the subject. After reading through what people were saying, I slowly realized something. Scratch is not designed for me. Or more specifically, it's not designed for programmers. This might sound counterintuitive, since Scratch is all about programming, but it's not for experienced programmers. Scratch is designed for new people who are getting into programming. Think about it. If you were a new person and you went onto Scratch and you saw all these complex games, you would have no idea how any of the code works. So, Scratch is designed for new people, and featured projects are chosen that are easy to remix and understand. So, the featured projects are projects that are really easy to understand and modify. So, Scratch isn't designed for complex games, or games that have hours of content. This can probably explain why I, someone who makes complex games with a lot of content, doesn't use Scratch often. Yes, that's right, the person who made a whole channel about Scratch doesn't use Scratch much. That's because I've started using Penguin Mod. Penguin Mod is like a Scratch mod full of experienced Scratch programmers and people who do other programs, and they mostly create games on that website. I've recently been using Penguin Mod to make pretty much every game that I've made, and I only really use Scratch for things related to this channel. I originally came into this video thinking that how the featured list works was a bad thing, and that projects that should be in the light were being replaced by these small projects. And while I still believe that, I've realized that the featured projects aren't designed to be what I thought it was. While I still think that these impressive games should get some sort of featured area, Scratch just isn't designed for me.